Hi there, I'm Anna Bisak, and I'm here with Amber Gregory, who's going to tell us a bit more about her career. So, Amber, I'll have you start. Can you tell us, what do you do for work?
Hi, everybody. As Anna said, my name is Amber Gregory. I am an experienced registered yoga teacher, and I currently have my 200-hour teacher certification. So I teach yoga. I've been teaching for about 13 years, and I also run my own business called Amber B Yoga, which has been really fun to do what I love to do and run my own business in terms of being an entrepreneur. I'm also a Kira Grace Warrior Ambassador, which is Kira Grace is a clothing company. So I'm a brand ambassador for my third year, which is really fun because I also love fashion. So it's a really fun combination. So
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit more about your educational and career background and kind of how you came into this kind of work?
yeah, so it's really funny. I definitely did not go to school to be a yoga teacher initially. I'm a Vermonter at heart. I have I'm sitting near my Vermont pillow here actually that I love. But I grew up in Vermont and went to high school in Vermont, and then I went to college at Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York. And I went to school for, I was 17 when I went to college, and I had no idea really what I wanted to do. And I went in and I got my bachelor in communications. So I kind of dabbled in marketing and advertising and spent about 12 years in marketing and advertising for Yahoo, for the Boston Herald before things went online. And so what's really ironic is I was kind of just doing that because I went to school for that. And I thought, I went to school for this, so I have to do this. But after about 3 different layoffs in Boston over 2 years, I was pretty down and out, and I kind of just by accident had an opportunity at Charlestown Yoga in Boston to do some nonprofit work there in exchange for free yoga. So my story is funny. I had never really done yoga, and I was just didn't have a job. I was pretty having a tough time in life, not sure what I was going to do. My path really changing, but I love the idea. Sometimes when you're rejected, it means you're redirected. So I was literally redirected into yoga, and I started doing yoga, and it just made me feel better. And so I ended up, again, kind of by default, the owner of the studio said, why don't you do the teacher training? I said, I don't want to teach. I did it because it was a healthy thing for me to do at the time. And I signed up for my teacher training. I had very little money, but I went into my 401k and I got all the money together and took a chance. It was the best decision I've ever made.
That's awesome. Thanks. What are some of your favorite things about your job?
So my favorite things about yoga is, I initially went into it for physical reasons because I thought, oh, this will be so healthy physically. And what's transpired is really just a way of life and really kind of getting back to, this is very deep, but getting back to who I really am. Kind of sifting through the things that don't serve me and really doing things on my mat and off my mat that align. I love this quote. One of a wonderful yoga teacher, Diane Bondi, says, what we practice on the mat should be aligned with what we seek off the mat. This was the first form of exercise and fitness and kind of holistic practice that really complemented my life, and my life kind of complemented it, which was very different for me. I had played sports, college softball, all these things, and I loved it, but then it kind of stopped when I left the field, or it stopped when I left the court. And this is the first practice and type of healthy exercise that really translated into my everyday life, which I love.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you find the most challenging about your work?
Oh my goodness. The most challenging things for my work is self-reflection. It's really hard to, and I think more and more with the level of stress that people are under in so many different ways. I think it's really hard to kind of wake up every day and not feel this like sense of a kind of a squeeze of self-judgment. I think starting at a young age now, because of social media and because of so many pressures on people, it is really hard to wake up and just feel like you're thriving. And the practice, those days when I feel that way, the practice really comes in handy because I'm able to sit with a meditation, and that can be a walking meditation or playing with my child one-on-one and sharing that. I consider all those things meditation, but self-reflection and trying to, again, become who you really are, kind of get all the things that can weigh us down, and really looking deep within can be challenging. When I first did my training, I really didn't know who I was. My body and my mind were separate. And so when I started to kind of peel back the layers, as they say in yoga, I didn't like what I saw. That was hard. And then I had to really find a path that helped me love who I am and try to continue to become who I really am from that inner child, So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through what a typical workday looks like for you?
Yeah. So I'll give you today for an example, because it's kind of, my kids went to school today. So we're doing a hybrid model. I have a 5 and an 8-year-old, and instead of them being in 5 days, they're in 2 days. So they're in Monday and Tuesday for the time being. I kind of made a shift a couple of years ago, not to work harder, but to work smarter. My time is really limited, and I run my own business. And so I have to really take the time that I have and use it wisely. Today I'm doing this interview, and I'm so happy to share this, because I think it's important to share experiences so that people don't feel alone, and I think there's something for everybody out there. No matter what everyone thinks you should do, I think it's important to find out what you really want to do and follow it, and it can really happen and come true. So at 10:30, I decided, because a lot of yoga studios are closed right now, and there's a lot of limitations in terms of getting together and taking class, and I had a retreat coming up this weekend that I can't do. I was going to run it in Vermont at Burke Mountain Fall Foliage Retreat. I decided, my kids are going back to school, so am I. So I signed up for so I have 200 hours of yoga teacher training certified, and I'm an experienced trainer, teacher, which means I have over 1,000 hours and much more. But I decided that I would sign up for my 300 hour, which brings me to 500 hours. So it's kind of like a master's degree in yoga. So I'm spending 4.5 hours a day for 55 days training and learning and lectures and my own asana practice, which is posture and meditation. So after I get off this call, 10:30 to 1:30, I'm in 3 hours of a live lecture. And then from 1:30 to 3, I have a recording to do for Cure Grace, because I'm offering a free class to nationally on Instagram and through their company this Saturday at noon. So I'm going to be recording an invitation for that, sending it to them. And then I'm putting my mom hat on and going to get my kids at school. So every day is different, and I'm trying to flow with that. And I like that variety. It keeps me stimulated and keeps my mind, really stimulated, which I love.
That's great. Thanks. What do you think would make someone a good fit for this kind of work?
I think everyone can benefit from this practice. I think all bodies, all colors, every body and person can benefit, men, women of all ages. I try to incorporate this in my kids' lives. without, pushing it on them.
Mm-hmm.
But simple things such as my daughter was having trouble sleeping right before school started, and she was stressed. I was stressed. There's a lot of stress. And I have crystals and stones, and I sleep next to some of them. One in particular is an amethyst, and I walked into my room and I gave her my amethyst and said, hold this. This energy can really help you rest and sleep and relax. And breath. Breath is everything. A big shift for me was finally realizing that I had breath and that I was using breath, and it made things different for me in my life. And so really teaching that at a young age can help. And it can help connect people to their bodies and their minds. And no matter what you do for work, breath is always available. So I think we all breathe. And when we can start to connect with it, I think anybody has this at their, it's available to everybody. Yeah.
Great, thanks. If a middle or high school student is thinking that they might want to be an instructor someday, is there anything you would recommend that they do right now to continue to explore it?
It's funny, this summer, my kids and I drove to Maryland. My cousin, she's a really close, she's like a sister to me, but she turned 50. And her son is in high school, Hank. And he's taking college courses right now. He's really enthusiastic about academics. And so he's at community college taking psychology, and we just started talking about it. We just started talking about all these different things, from energy work to chakras, which are invisible wheels of energy that run through the body. We have 7 major chakras and 21 minor chakras. We have energy channels that run through the body. For someone who is interested in this, alternative healing, massage, at a young age, breathing, just thinking about the times when you start to feel anxious, or maybe the things that you do when you feel that way, and maybe shifting patterns, just starting to really think about things on a bigger scale. I call it my self-spacesuit. I was kind of in this weekend. Tara Brock, who's a beautiful spiritual leader and speaker, and guided meditations and things, she calls it your self-spacesuit. When we're so into what's happening with us that we lose track of the big picture. So anyone who's really interested in this, I would say, trust the process. I didn't think I was going to be doing this. I thought I'd just keep getting more money and working my way up the ladder in a corporate setting. I don't think that brings true happiness. It can if you love what you do, but you have to love what you do. I don't feel like my job is work. I sign up for it. It's a reward. And the last thing, it's on my website, and I'll say this because I love this saying, it's not about finding peace. It's about being at peace with what we find. And I think that is a really nice way to live. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And you've spoken a little bit about kind of the training hours involved, but what kind of education or training do you think someone might be thinking about down the road if they want to be doing this kind of work?
Yeah, so there's, what's really fun is, this industry has really grown. I was just reading something that 90% of, so I think it was saying 90% of stress, 90% of illness is from stress. And that number has dropped to 75%. It's gone down, meaning people are really taking care of themselves. People are starting to open their minds to all these different avenues. And in terms of training, I think, for my 200 hour, I did, so asana is a Sanskrit term for posture. Things have really changed in yoga, and it's much less about throwing yourself into postures that don't feel good. It's really evolved. When I first started, it was kind of like, oh, I don't want to take yoga because I'm not flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And the teachings have evolved over the last 13 years where we're teaching to different bodies and different skeletons. And I think just kind of getting in touch with your skeleton and your frame and your biography and your biology,
Mm-hmm.
what you're made of, what your family's made of is a really big piece. And in terms of training, I went through a lot of training in terms of posture, but it's also read a room. How do you read a room? Know your audience. As a teacher, as someone who does workshops and retreats, are you relatable?
Mm-hmm.
I want people to feel in my class that they can relate to me, and it doesn't matter what age they are or what size they are or where they came from, or, we all have different things in our biography.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 35 years old. I don't have any family history.
Mm-hmm.
I really was humbled by that experience. It was really hard. I went through a year of treatment, a clinical trial, because I was so young and it was really aggressive. But I can share my biography. I can share my story. And once I started speaking openly about it to people, it was amazing the ripple effect of how people could relate, So in terms of training, I think it's, again, just getting back to who you truly are and sharing once you're ready, assessing your vulnerability. To me, that's training. Trying to let go of shame. And that's so hard. Brene Brown talks about it, she's a great person to read and to watch because she does a lot of work in that. But yeah, just training to me is just keep doing your best.
That's fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anything else you would want to share?
Gosh, there's so much. I think that people right now really need to feel comfortable with the fact that this is a really hard time. I was saying to my husband this weekend, I had a really low bandwidth. I'm exhausted. I'm a mom of 2 young kids, as I mentioned. I'm trying to run a business. I've lost a lot of classes because of this. And I think this practice is about, and life is kind of trying to flow. I think we're really being challenged in that. But I also want people to really, anything that happens in your life, like if you do something that you're not proud of, or you have shame, or you feel guilty, I think it's important to look at that as information. Okay, so I didn't have a great day. I made a bad choice. I got in trouble. I did something. Well, that is great information. That's great information for me to use and maybe make a subtle change. And that subtle change can be in your life. It can be in a yoga posture, It doesn't have to be 0 or 10. I work on about a number 7. I'm working on that always. Because I kind of go back and forth. I'm kind of like that. So, but I want people to be really compassionate to themselves, and especially right now, because there's a lot of separation right now, and there's a lot of stress, and I also get back to the way you really are is what I say. Like in yoga, we talk about our root chakra, which is the base of our spine, and it's simple. It's like nature's resuscitation. So you're sitting next to a plant, like just going for a walk or putting one foot in front of the other. Maybe that's all you do today. It's okay, being okay with that. And I really want to say that because I think, especially at a young age, I want people to feel that way. I want people to know that social media is not real. I'm comfortable with it, but I'm almost 45.
Mhm.
And I think if I had had it at a young age, it would have been really detrimental to me in terms of feeling compared to things or feeling alone or whatever. So, I think that getting back to nature and, becoming who you really are
Mhm.
is really important. And I'm really glad that I found a career after a long time. It's been a long time. I'm almost 40.
Mhm.
And it will keep evolving. And in all my marketing experience, I'm marketing myself now.
Mhm.
12 years in advertising and marketing when I was going, I'm not inspired. I'm not inspired. I am inspired now, and I'm utilizing those skills that I had and that I did in my work for myself now. So I do think that I guess my teacher says everything happens not for a reason, but for a lesson. And I love that. I think it's important. So that's just about it.
Well, that is great. Thank you so much, Amber.
You're so welcome. And thank you for taking the time to interview me.